Live on a Friday, but a little pre-recorded segment. Sam Phelan and Austin Stanley here on a Friday morning because Zach is still out of town out in DC for a conference, and I am headed to Atlanta for the weekend. So Sam and I jump on here to update some key situations with the Titans injuries ahead of a game against the Denver Broncos in Nissan Stadium that the Titans desperately, I think, need to win this game at home against Russell Wilson and the 3-5 Broncos. So Sam and I this morning, we're going to update the Jeffrey Simmons ankle situation. Actually, two ankles we're going to update. Jeffrey Simmons and quarterback Ryan Tannehill will play you videos from the locker room in practice on Thursday. And then we'll talk about the quick Sunday to Thursday night turnaround here on this abbreviated Friday show, Sam. But even though we're not live, people can still help us out by sharing the show.
Yeah, I mean, we're not live, like you said. It is not a live day where we get to interact with all of our great viewers and see all of your comments. But still, if you support the show, if you watch the show every day, go ahead and share the show because that's the best way to support it. So if you support us, if you support the live show, go ahead and do the same thing. There's a share button on Facebook. There is a tweet of this show on A to Z Sports Twitter account at A to Z Sports. There is YouTube. A lot of options. So however you consume this content, make sure you share it to your friends. The Titans fan in your life can get a part of the conversation. Introduce them to the A to Z Sports family before we get things going today.
Yeah, let's do it. Getting going on a Friday officially. A to Z Sports, powered as always by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He is our Titans reporter, Sam Phelan, here on this Friday. Always powered by BetMGM, but also going live every weekday morning at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Also hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all over the socials as well. Got to thank our sponsors because they make it happen each and every day for us. Wilson County Hyundai. Find your next ride at Wilson County Hyundai in Lebanon or at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans, better coverage rates and service. Learn more about a health plan for you. FBHP.com/ATOZ. And Hughes and Coleman Injury Lawyers, the official injury lawyers of the Tennessee Titans. If you've been injured in a car wreck, call Hughes and Coleman for a free case consultation, 800-800-4600. So Sam, on this Friday, updating Thursday's practice here on the show, Jeffrey Simmons did not practice Wednesday with the ankle injury that he's played the last two games through, and also did not practice on Thursday. How are you feeling? You told us Thursday that you didn't think this was trending in a good way. Now that he hasn't practiced 2 days in a row, do you kind of feel the same way?
Yeah, I think pretty similar spot. He was in the walking boot again on the left ankle. He had it around his left foot walking around today. We did have a chance to catch up with him. We'll play that in a minute. But, yeah, I don't love where Jeffrey Simmons currently sits for this Sunday. And it's an interesting situation, Austin, because we've talked about that quick turnaround, that Sunday to Thursday game. So if he's out Sunday, can he make the turnaround and play Thursday, or is this injury something that could potentially keep him out for 2 weeks now? He confirmed to the media that it is an ankle sprain and that it is something that he tweaked. He retweaked it in the Kansas City game. So we played that video on Thursday morning show when I said that I didn't think it was trending in the right direction of Jeffrey Simmons looking up at Titans reporter Buck Rising and saying, I need to get healthy. And now that's the situation that we're seeing this week where potentially things starting to point to Jeffrey Simmons not playing on Sunday, potentially being out and using the opportunity to get some rest, to get healthy, to get back to 100%. That's the state of affairs with Jeffrey Simmons. We don't really know if it's having the boot on to kind of manage things and if he's going to try and go, but you can tell right now he's not feeling too good. He's not close to himself, and he's trying to rehab to get back as quickly as possible.
Yeah, let's hear from Jeffrey Simmons in the locker room on Thursday.
In terms of health and so forth.
I'm just taking it day by day. I'm each and every day I'm coming into the building. The same thing. I've been through an injury before. Just each and every day, all I could focus on how much better I could be. Health-wise, each and every day.
Yeah. How hard was it? I mean, you already had the injury. You go out there and you play 100 snaps Sunday. What was that?
I mean, it wasn't. I didn't go out there thinking about an injury. That was a hard game. I wanted to win that game, just like as much I know my teammates wanted to. So I don't go out there thinking about injury. I go out there and think about leaving everything on the line for my teammates.
Is it hard, the last couple of weeks you haven't been able to practice, is it hard to, just get out there and play the game every week, or are you at the point in your career already where, that doesn't necessarily make a big difference?
No. Practicing make a big difference. No matter who, I don't care. Been playing this game for 20 years. I think the timing is everything. When you go out there and you're not being able to actually get them type of run fits or, be able to get your feet in the ground with your pass rush moves or whatever it may be, I think that's always plays a part. You start the game a little slow, and, the last 2 weeks, I feel like I have, been each and every first series, second series, whatever it may be, I go out there and trying to get a feel for it. Like I said, this week I'm just taking it day by day, especially with injury.
What's your day? What are your days like when you're not able to practice? Is it just a lot of rehab and watching film?
I still watch film. I still very active. I got all the information from meetings. I'm watching the film, and of course it's rehab. I'm trying to, like I said, each and every day I come in trying to get this ankle better. So.
And the Titans need Jeffrey Simmons to get that ankle better, that's for sure, because if they want to do something in the last half of the season and then beyond that in the playoffs, they need 98 there to wreak a bunch of havoc. Now, it doesn't sound like he's close to being in a spot where he could play. Did he say anything about like where he tweaked it Sunday night? And I'm sure one of the 80-something plays that he played in Kansas City, did he say where?
Yeah, I remember the play. I'm trying to actually pinpoint it. I think it might have been on the Mahomes touchdown run, because I remember that he kind of fell down and was like looking up at Mahomes from behind. He went down. I remember him going down on a play and me thinking to myself, man, Jeffrey Simmons is leaving it all on the field today. This is a guy that does not feel like 100%. And couple things stood out to me from that, Austin, and being in that huddle there to talk to Simmons. One being, he said, look, I go into every season and I know that's the last time I'm going to be 100%. He's aware of that at this point in his career, that you're going to have to play at less than 100% for basically every game. But it was what he said about timing and missing practice. It's something that he's done each of the last 2 weeks, played after not really being out there throughout the practice week. And he says he's felt like his timing has been off. He hasn't really gotten a good feel for run fits, and it's taken a series or two for him to finally get a feeling for that game speed and to start getting back to himself. So Jeffrey Simmons has not been at full speed what Jeffrey Simmons can be the last couple weeks. And as you say, they need him to be that later in the season.
Right.
So that's why the question starts being asked here. If he doesn't play, like, can you rest him for 2 weeks maybe here and get him into a place where, all right, now he's back to feeling like he did maybe at the start of the year and back to wreaking havoc.
Yeah. Well, if you think about resting him for 2 weeks, like if Jeffrey Simmons misses the Broncos game and the Packers game, you're giving him pretty long time, almost a full, 14 days, really between the next game, which would be on the 20th of October. Or November, that would be a big deal for Jeffrey Simmons to get that break because of how quickly those back-to-back games are for each other and for the Titans. So let's move to Ryan Tannehill, because Ryan Tannehill's ankle, he has not played the last 2 games where Jeffrey Simmons has. Tannehill was a full participant at practice for the first time since hurting his ankle against the Colts earlier in October. How do you feel about the way the starting quarterback is trending towards being back out there against the Broncos?
Yeah, another thing that we talked about on Thursday morning show that I think has continued to go that direction. We said it was a positive trend with Ryan Tannehill and with Treylon Burks. And today, Ryan Tannehill being a full participant was the confirmation that a lot of people needed for his ankle. I said that he, in Wednesday's practice, was a little bit more involved. You could see him actually moving around and see him throwing. This video from Thursday's practice is of Ryan Tannehill. You see him manipulating the pocket a little bit, moving around, trying to be a little mobile. And those are the things that Ryan Tannehill and Mike Vrabel have said is the checklist for him to play, is can he do his job to the best of his ability? Can he not be a statue back in the pocket? And is there a risk of re-injuring the ankle? And from what we see right now and what the Titans are showing us, looks like Ryan Tannehill could be good to go Sunday against Denver. A huge, huge development, especially given where the Titans passing game has been the last couple weeks.
There was a couple times when he was doing the play action motion and then dropping back in the second football from Pat O'Hara, where you could tell maybe moving a little gingerly with his right ankle, which is important to remember. It's his plant foot, right? Plant and drive off of that back foot to get the ball down the field, or plant and drive off of that foot to get yourself out of harm's way. So here's Sam, I'm going to ask you this. And if you guys are watching this, we're not live this morning. Sorry about that. Had to head out of town for this weekend. But I think it's interesting if you could only have Ryan Tannehill for one of these next two games coming up because of the Sunday, Thursday turnaround. Would you rather have Ryan Tannehill for the Broncos game or Thursday night football against the Packers?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to see that him playing Sunday and then not playing Thursday, but I think if
I disagree. I think if he plays Sunday, that's a quick turnaround, plus having to travel to go up in the air on a short week to go.
But I think if he was in a state where he could worsen his condition to the point where he wasn't good to play, I don't think he would go.
That's
like, I think that's been the standard for the Titans when assessing him so far. If I had to just pick one, I'd probably pick Sunday. For the same reason we talked about on the morning. It's an AFC game, and you never know when those wins might have a tiebreaker effect on a playoff seeding, on, God forbid, a division seeding later in the year if somehow the Indianapolis Colts go on a tear, which, looks unlikely.
Under Jeff Saturday, right?
Somebody picks it up. But, yeah, that seems unlikely. But for a playoff seeding, for whatever reason, Denver's a game that you want to win. I think that they need this one too for some momentum, and they had the 5-game winning streak, got out to 5-2, now 5-3. This is a big spot. You get to 6-3, you start to separate yourselves as a real contender in the AFC. You're back in the mix with Buffalo and Kansas City for some of those top teams.
Baltimore.
Yeah, and Baltimore too. Baltimore has been right up in the mix now, where the Titans have dipped down from the 2 seed to the 4 seed with one loss. This is a big game that they need to win in the AFC, and I want Ryan Tannehill back as quickly as possible, especially if Treylon Burks is out there. I need to start building that rapport between the QB1 and this wide receiver group. So as soon as possible for me.
Yeah, so I would pick the Broncos game too. I think, one, you can't start both without starting the first one, obviously. So I'd say go out there and try to win the Broncos game. For Jeffrey Simmons, I think if you start Tannehill against the Broncos, maybe rest Jeffrey Simmons and hope you get more out of your offense against the Broncos team that might not be as explosive as the Packers potentially could be. And then maybe Big Jeff can play against the Packers that put more pressure on Aaron Rodgers. That's how I would go. I would start Ryan Tannehill against Denver and then sit Big Jeff against the Broncos to hope you get Jeffrey Simmons back against a better offense in the Packers, but not much better. I mean,
it's a better run game, which I think is really
true.
important. Like Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. A.J. Dillon has been slightly underwhelming this year, but Aaron Jones is having a phenomenal year for Green Bay, and we mentioned it earlier today, but Denver just can't run the football. They don't do it well. Like Latavius Murray and Melvin Gordon and Mike Boone and whoever else that they're giving the ball to in that backfield have not been cutting it. So I think if you're looking at somebody that Jeffrey Simmons and his presence can really be felt, it is that Thursday game against Green Bay. Therefore, maybe he needs rest Sunday. Tannehill needs to go. You're going to need that little jolt to the passing game. And Denver is a very good defense and a very good secondary, especially. And Malik Willis going against that secondary probably doesn't, give you the best chance to win that game, given the fact that the wide receivers at this point in time haven't made a ton of plays or gotten a lot of separation. You need a more precise passer, which Ryan Tannehill is.
Yeah, and the Packers, they're pretty banged up too as well. It's interesting. We're kind of talking about two games here on a Friday because of the quick turnaround with Thursday night, but the Packers have the Cowboys. So if the Packers are going into the Titans game on Thursday night at 3-7,
I mean, there's a question now that like Aaron Rodgers could end up being somebody that heads to the bench, which, as absurd as it sounds to say, that I mean, that's the headline in national news because of the Colts were the blueprint for that, right? Is we've underachieved. Playoffs don't look realistic. Let's at least see what we have in this guy on the bench.
Yeah.
And the Packers, I think worst case scenario would be heading into next season with Jordan Love and not knowing what he is. So is there a scenario where the Titans play Jordan Love on Thursday Night Football in Green Bay? That would be
the
interesting.
Packers schedule coming up in a 3-6 hole right now. Cowboys in Green Bay, Titans in Green Bay, at Philly. Ugh. That could get ugly real fast for Green Bay. So there's a lot of desperation there, but they also played an ugly game in losing in Detroit where Aaron Rodgers threw 3 picks last week. All of a sudden the Packers have lost 5 games in a row, and I don't think it's going to get better anytime soon. So a big opportunity for the next 2 games for the Titans on Sunday against the Broncos first and foremost, and then up in Green Bay against the Packers on Thursday night. Sam, that'll do it. That'll wrap us up for a quick 15-minute show here on this Friday. Appreciate everybody watching through. We'll be back live on Sunday. Don't worry. I actually got a packed weekend, and it starts Saturday. Actually, let me check that. It starts this afternoon because A to Z Sports Picks live on Friday. Alan Bell, Brian Edwards get you ready for a big college football and pro football weekend presented by BetMGM. And we've also got our halftime and post-game show for the Vols against Missouri. Charlie Burris and Lucas Panzica of 104.5 The Zone filling in for Jonathan Crompton this week. And then Sunday morning, Buck Rising live, Titan Game Day morning at 8. Then Zach and Jack Gentry will be live for Titan Game Day Live, pregame, halftime, and postgame. Sam, you'll be live at the stadium at Nissan Stadium all Sunday long. So we're going to have a lot of great coverage. So make sure you subscribe and follow along with all of our social media. And we'll see you guys throughout the weekend. Appreciate it as always.